Welcome to another edition of BeerAmerica.tv. I am Paul Leone with my good friend
John Pinkerton.
There we go. And we continue on our quest. Actually, let me just first start and say where we are. Where are we?
We are in the brew house at Moon River Brewing Company.
That's right. We've changed. We kind of like to hop around. Sometimes we're at the distillery, sometimes we're at the Moon River, John's place, and this is where John lives most of the time, is here.
I decided I didn't want to be out of my comfort zone tonight.
You are. So we're here, and you can see, and it's kind of fitting, actually, don't you think?
I think so.
All right, excellent.
This is where we make the beer.
That's where we make the beer. So today we're going to talk about small craft warning Über Pils, which is the heavy seas line of Clipper City Brewing.
Correct.
And there's a lot going on here as far as naming. So is Heavy Seas is a line of their beer?
I think the idea here is that this is sort of their specialty seasonal lineup.
Yeah.
They have their sort of flagship beers, if you will, that are just Clipper City Brewing Company. But these are the beers that they come out probably quarterly. I'm not certain of that, but seasonally, if nothing else.
Yep.
And there's some interesting beers in the lineup. They've got an Imperial Stout, I believe. This is an Imperial Pils, Über Pils.
It's an Über Pils. And my limited German, Über means like big.
Lots
like
of.
A lot of pills, yes. Über. Über big. So, I guess you would expect right away for it to have a little bit of clarity, but it's a little, not as clarity as much as clarity as I thought. A Pils, when you think of Pilsner.
Yeah, typically I like to see or I expect to see a German beer, with the exception of Hefeweizen, to be crystal clear. But I also, just being a brewer, I actually like, I think the best flavor is when there's still some yeast there.
Right.
So I don't necessarily buy into the notion that it has to be that way.
So that's what we're seeing here, a little bit of yeast?
Well, I'm going to reserve.
Go by behind us there, yeah. Right
I'm going to reserve judgment until I taste it.
It's got a light smell to me.
A light smell?
Yeah, like it's not big. There's not one big aroma that like knocked me over. Like, oh, that's got a lot of,
I definitely get some graininess.
Yeah.
I get some of that kind of classic German graininess.
And smell as well.
There's a little honey note there that stands out.
See, I don't pick a lot of these things out until you mention it because I don't have that. I drink it and it's there. And then you say it's honey, and I'm like, oh, let me try it again. I think you're right. Now I kind of taste it.
Unfortunately, the power suggestion is very, very strong. So, I could say it tastes like...
but now that I think about it, it's there. No,
horse saliva, and you'd be like, oh.
Horse saliva.
In fact, it does taste like horse saliva.
It's 7.2%.
This doesn't.
7.2%, so that's a pretty medium big beer.
Yeah, it's up there. Definitely, that would be right about there for a Doppelbock, or right there for a Doppelbock, a classic Doppelbock. But this is nice. This has the that sort of strength that you would expect from a Bock, but also the lighter overall characteristic of a Pilsner beer. It's certainly Pilsner and then some because you've got a little bit of thickness there from that malt. They're obviously using a very light base malt like Pilsner malt, but once you start piling up that malt, it starts to sort of get more of a concentrated character. So even a pale malt will eventually start tasting sort of that malty, nutty kind of.
And it goes with as we were reading. I was reading some new statistics about the American craft brewing industry continuing its growth. And the way they describe it is good. People who want fuller flavored beers, and you kind of just touched on it a little bit with a Pilsner, usually generally a bit lighter. This is a Pilsner with a much fuller flavor. That kind of describes what American craft beer is all about in a lot of ways, correct?
In a lot of ways, yeah.
Yeah, it just beers that are not corn and water and.
Yeah, I think with that and a touch of adventure, that I think part of what the American craft beer scene is selling is adventure, quality of life, that affordable luxury thing, all these things kind of weigh in here. And Clipper City has done a nice job here.
Yeah, and they describe if you go on their website, they describe the Heavy Seas line as the brewer's art, his expression. That line and they're all bottle conditioned as well. They said these are all bottle conditioned.
Well, there you go. That's what that's where that haze is coming from. There's some yeast there that is actually creating the carbonation. So
Explain what bottle conditioning is for those who don't know.
Basically, what you're looking at is the beer is re-fermented in the bottle. So when they go to bottle it, they're going to add a little bit of extra sugar. Either that, or they're going to leave. There's going to be some residual sugar there remaining to be fermented in the bottle. And you have to have a little bit of the yeast in there, just the right amount, ideally, to end up with something that has some degree of clarity, not necessarily like thick with the yeast, but also that the yeast is there to act on those sugars and to create some little bit more alcohol. It's more there for the additional fermentation to create that CO2 more than anything else.
Right. So they're not running through machines and carbonating and pumping into bottles.
Correct.
Yeah, which is really unique. I think it adds a smoothness to the beer as well.
I think it definitely enhances the flavor.
In flavor, okay.
A lot of people talk about little bubbles and this kind of stuff. I don't buy into any of that BS. To me, it really comes down to the flavor of the beer.
Yeah.
There's definitely a difference in the character, the overall character, without a doubt. And I love bottle conditioning. I think it's that really does get into some serious nuance when it comes to the packaging.
So if you see the Clipper City Brewery out of Baltimore, Maryland, and you see their Heavy Seas small craft warning Über Pils, give it a shot. I think it's a nice beer to dive into with a lot of full flavor, and it's got that nice bottle conditioning, kind of a step up flavor to it.
Indeed.
If you have any questions for us at all, it's paul@beeramerica.tv.
Pink at brewers.tv. I was about to say Moon River Brewing Company, but
that too. It's Pink at Moon River Brewing
Either way.
Company. So either way, it's going to get to them. And you can look us up at all the old social networking sites, or I should say new. I shouldn't say old. Facebook, Twitter.
Sounds like a disease or something.
I know. Everything. Tumblr. They're all there. We're there. We're all over the web. YouTube channel. The whole deal. So look us up. So for beeramerica.tv, cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
Good to be in the brew house.
Clipper City. Thanks, guys.
City. It's all gone.
Look at you. I'm trying to be good.
You are.